Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. If you appreciate this video, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next one is uploaded. We enjoy reading all comments, whether positive or negative, because it is very important to ventilate both sides of any issue. All we ask is that you observe the YouTube community guidelines. We were so struck by the comments to our last video, that we felt the need to make this follow-up. Before we published our previous video, about the possible motivation behind Don Toto, putting young Kimi in George's car rather than Sir Lewis's, which all of the mainstream F1 media had been led to believe was going to be the case, we thought we were the baddest at thinking the worst of Toto and Mercedes. But, after reading a host of your comments about Toto's possible darkest motivations, that never even crossed our minds, we were humbled and promptly educated. We learned that there are those who are badder than us. Whether this is testament to how bad public opinion about Toto and Mercedes is, or how naive and eternally optimistic we are, is up for debate. But before going further, we would like to take a moment to thank those of you who have signed our petition about getting some accountability for what happened to the GOAT in Abu Dhabi, and urge you to keep spreading the word, and sharing the link to the petition which is posted in the description section, for the attention of those of you who haven't yet signed. As mentioned earlier, today's video is a follow-up to our previous one about Toto's possible motivation. We pondered whether, viewed in the context of the positive write-up that Sir Lewis was now uncharacteristically getting on the Mercedes homepage, their failure to get George ahead by sabotaging his car, and their humiliating rejection by Max, Toto the sociopath was making an attempt to mend fences with Sir Lewis as a prelude to trying to get him to stay. As we've been saying at the beginning of our videos, we like to review both sides of any issue, and therefore put forward a possible interpretation of those actions when viewed together. But we did finish up with the reference to snakes shedding their skins to become bigger snakes, so we didn't think much of Toto's chance of success. We just wanted to put it out there that we were keeping an eye on his Don King-style machinating. We never thought for 1 minute that he could be putting Kimi in George's car to set Sir Lewis up, by sabotaging his car, so that he would be upstaged by being outperformed by the young novice. That is some next-level skullduggery that would put even Don King to shame. It also shows that there are many of us who don't buy the story that Mercedes was not sabotaging Sir Lewis in the first place. So, the question is, are Mercedes taking note of how badly damaged their public reputation is, or not? What does it say about Mercedes and Toto, that people from all over the English and Spanish-speaking worlds are expressing the same sentiment about them being capable of sabotaging Sir Lewis in free practice, to use Kimi to upstage him? This would be the same Mercedes that used to be held in such high esteem before that fateful day in Abu Dhabi, 3 years ago. Oh, how art the mighty fallen! We are truly appreciative and deeply humbled by your support, and would urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our petition, and for one and all to share, and share, until it goes viral. It does not matter that the petition is for action in the UK, people from all over the world are welcome to sign and have been signing. So far, we have had signatories from the UK, US, Canada, South Africa, Trinidad and Tobago, Australia, India, Nigeria, Germany, Jamaica, Sweden, Malaysia, Malta, Botswana, and even the Netherlands. We expect to reach all 4 corners of the world and urge you to spread the word far and wide. The key point is that the UK government will have to convene an inquiry if the petition gets enough signatories, and then the likes of James Atkins, and whoever else is so inclined can submit written or oral evidence. We are excited about the prospect of James providing an oral and/or written testimony to the inquiry. So come on people, let's get this petition going. People need to understand that those behind Abu Dhabi knew that they were doing wrong, they just believed they could get away with it because the public would let them, and they had the governments on lockdown. But now that there's a new government in place in the UK, and possibly in the US as well in the immediate future, and Sir Lewis is on his way to Ferrari, the tide is turning against them. All we just have to do is collect enough signatures to force the UK government to act, or otherwise be seen to be shirking their responsibility to the public. Either way we win. And of course, there will be opportunities to act in the US as well, should a new government come in. To be clear, what happened in Abu Dhabi merits a criminal investigation, and a new US Attorney General may not be as beholden to John Malone as the current weakling appears to be. So, if you were shocked and outraged by what happened in Abu Dhabi, now is the time to answer the call, and all you have to do is sign and share the petition. If you haven't already, then when you finish watching this video, please click on the link in descriptions to sign the petition, and then to encourage others, return to let everyone know that you have. If you are on Twitter, then please repost and share the link and the accompanying hashtags, which are available from our Twitter page at NS&C101. If you are on other platforms or groups, then please share there as well. Thank you. We wish Kimi all the best in his F1 career and hope he gets to replace Sir Lewis at Mercedes. But what happens if he puts in a good performance, regardless of whether the kid outperforms the GOAT or not? Does this mean that they will then replace the GOAT with the kid going forward? Have Mercedes made the switch because their tyre whisperer has failed to outperform the GOAT in free practice 1? After all, we all know that they have been using Sir Lewis's free practice 1 data to give George a boost in FP2 and 3. Now that we know that the head of race engineering will become the race engineer for whoever replaces Sir Lewis, what does the future hold for George as support driver to Kimi? How will the sponsors and advertisers respond, now that Mercedes will not have a world champion in their ranks for the first time in 11 years? The permutations are endless, and we would like to read yours in the comments section. Can George really afford to miss out on a practice session? At 172 centimeters, Kimi is closer in size to Sir Lewis at 174 centimeters than George at 185 centimeters, so how will this affect the car's cockpit and settings? Will a car set up for Kimi perform the same as one set up for George? What about driving styles? Aren't cars set up for the driver's style? Does Kimi's style mirror that of George? Can George get any benefit from this? Or, as many have suggested, this is just a show to upstage Sir Lewis. If you have any knowledge of whether this would make any difference or not, then you know what to do. We now know that Sir Lewis will be sitting out an FP1 session later in the year. So, we wait to see when this will be. What does all this say about Mick Schumacher and Frederick Vesti, who are the Mercedes reserve drivers? Did Don Toto put his Machiavellian interest above that of his young protégé? Was it wise for the kid to make his debut at his home race? Don't worry Kimi, you will rise again. Forza Azzurri. Forza Ferrari.